Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are here for the Paul's wife's birthday edition of the Tabs3 virtual user group meeting. Mary Jo's got her mouth full of chocolate, birthday chocolate, ready to go, though. And we're here to talk today about ProPay, which is the company that provides the credit card processing that integrates directly with Tabs and Trust accounting, and combine trust transactions, a new feature in version 18 that really makes it a lot easier to reconcile your trust account. I'm going to talk about that. Mary Jo is going to tell us about ProPay and show us kind of how that works.
Okay, so we are in Tabs, so I'm going to talk about it over here, but know that you can also set up ProPay accounts over in Trust, completely separate. You can also set up as many accounts as you need to. So if you have multiple trust accounts or bank accounts that you need to set up for, to accept credit cards, you can set up multiple ProPay accounts. If in Tabs you need to set up multiple accounts, either by timekeeper or by location, you can do that. So that is a really good feature of that. So what I've done to kind of demonstrate this is I've set up a dollar balance over here in a test matter. But first I want to show you exactly where you set up ProPay to tell it that you're going to do this, that you're going to accept it. So the first thing you have to do is you actually have to be on version 18 because the new credit card, the new chip cards are only supported in version 18. And that is a requirement now. You have to be able to accept chip cards, apparently. So ProPay has changed what they can do, what they need to do, and Tabs has changed what they had to do to be able to make that happen and to work properly. So version 18 is a must. You have to be on that. If you're not and you're eligible for an upgrade, you can definitely get a hold of us. We'll help you get to 18 if you need it. And then you can also contact ProPay, which we'll talk about as well, and then get your account set up, because you will need to have that set up prior to coming in here and setting it up in Tabs. So once you have your account set up, you're going to have a merchant ID number, all of those things. You're going to go to the Setup tab, and you're going to go into Customization. And this is an exclusive task, so everyone will be needing to be logged out of the software. But there is a Merchant Services tab within Customization that we go out to, and we want to turn on the enable credit card processing for payments, and then also if you're going to be taking it for client funds. So if you're using client funds in Tabs and you want to be able to accept the credit cards there, you need to check both these boxes. This is not Trust. Trust is going to be set up in the Trust module, but just so you know, if you're taking payments and coding them as a client fund payment, that would be what you need to check. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on the firm account, and this is where you're going to put in that information that you get from ProPay. It is very easy. Now, if any of you have dealt with TSYS in the past, because ProPay is a TSYS product, they had something, and I'm trying to think of what that was named now, and I can't think of the name of it, Positive Pay, I believe. Does that sound right, Paul? No, maybe not. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember what it is, but it was something, and that was very difficult to set up. We had a couple of clients that they had tried to do that, and it was a process. Well, that has gone away. They've made it super easy. It's a ProPay account. That's what you need, and they will give you your merchant ID. They will give you your description, your user ID, and your password, all of those things, and you would put that information into this firm account.
And let me interject that to set this up, you go to one website, fill out a simple one-page form, and instantly have this number. You don't technically even need to talk to somebody at ProPay. You just fill it out, get this number, put it in Tabs, and you're ready to accept credit cards.
It's very, very easy. The other two buttons that are on here, location accounts. So this is what I was talking, if you have more than one location and you needed to set up two separate ProPay accounts, this is where you would come in and add the locations for that, and how you would, set up that merchant ID and the description for each one. And then same thing with timekeepers. Some firms, each timekeeper has their own ProPay account, and so you can come in and you can set up each timekeeper with their own merchant ID, their description, and when they get credit cards in, it goes to their timekeeper account. The other thing down here is just account setup report. This is just going to print out how you've got your parameters set. So once you've got this set up, we're ready to actually start taking payments into the program. So we already have ours. We use ProPay. We absolutely love it. We actually just started using this back in April when they came out, when they actually came out with ProPay in December, end of December there, to be in compliance. But we actually signed up and we have been using it and absolutely love it. So let me show you how one works. So we're just going to go out to Client Manager. I'm going to go out to my little test matter. Let me get back in here. Oh, thanks, Paul. I'm like ready to just type this in there. So let me get to my little 75 matter here. Whoops, I don't know that I am in the, let me get out of that. I know what the number is. We'll just do it. Maybe I do. Oh, too many zeros. There we go. All right, so I've got my dollar AR balance. So I'm just going to add a payment. And I'm going to make it a credit card payment. So I'm going to put in the dollar. And over here on the receipt type, as soon as I pick credit card and I save this payment, it opens up the box. Now, we don't have a card reader here, but if you had a card reader, you would actually swipe the card at this point. When it asks you to continue, you would swipe the card to get the number in here. So that would be the time that you would do that. You would get a card reader from TSYS and all of that. If you're keying in the entry, you would just come right here. You would choose the, the number, the credit card number. My mind is like blank. It's the chocolate. I don't know what it is. But you would actually just type the credit card in there. And then it would help you fill out this. Now, you're seeing on our screen, we've done some tests before, and that's the other good thing. It actually remembers the card information, and it's all encrypted. So you can just go ahead and you can.
But wait, Mary Jo, that's not a card up top. What's
I'm not coming to that, Paul. He just can't wait and let me just do it. There's an eCheck. So not only can you take credit cards, but you also can process checks as eCheck. So you don't even have to keep that check. You know, if you went to the grocery store and you've seen them actually hand your check back to you, they've run it as an eCheck. That's exactly what you can do with ProPay. So not only can you swipe credit cards, but you also can take their check, process it immediately, and hand them their check back if you wanted to. So we have an eCheck that's put in there. There also is a credit card stored in here. So there's two things. So we've actually run a credit card through, and we've also done an eCheck. So I can pick and choose what I want here, if it's a saved card or a saved eCheck, or I can add a new card number or swipe a card at this point. So, or I could add a new eCheck in here if I wanted to. So either way, these are the options that I have. So since I've already put a credit card in there, I'm going to choose that. And it pops open the window and it says we're almost done. It's got everything that I need. It's going to charge $1 because that's what I put for my payment out here. It has what my source is, all of the information that it was stored and encrypted in there. That card number is encrypted. We can only see the last 4, so it's all safe. And I can just confirm the pay now. It processes it, and it instantly gives a receipt that you can then print out and give to the client, and then you also they can be emailed that receipt as well. And then you get a confirmation that can be emailed to you that this payment was run and that it was done. And as soon as that gets into the bank, you also get an email that it was deposited. I want to say, Paul, what was the turnaround, like 2 days tops maybe? Is it 2 days? It's pretty fast.
I think it's the next day.
It's like very quick. If it's not the next day, it's right after.
It is the next day. I can attest to the fact that they show up in your bank account the next day.
Yeah, so much faster than other credit card processing companies have done it. Now, the big question everybody wants to ask is, how much does this cost? And so there are, first off, no monthly fees and there are no annual fees. They have a straight pricing. So if you're taking Visa and MasterCard and you swipe the card, it's 1.99%. If you take Discover and you swipe the card, it's 2.59%. If it is a keyed card, so we manually key in the number, no matter what the card type is, it's 2.89%. American Express swiped or keyed is 2.89%. And then there is a 25-cent per transaction for any of them. So it's the percentages are straight across the board and then 25 cents per transaction for each one. So very simple to keep track of. You don't have to have, you know, a million different price points and try to figure out which one is what when you're trying to do cards. Straightforward, easy to remember, easy to use.
And since most of our customers are doing keyed entry, it's a straight percentage no matter what type of card. And the eChecks are 50 cents each.
Yep. So very, very easy. Now you also have this available. Here's where you can actually print that receipt out for the client. So I'm not going to actually do that. And then just a real quick, if we went into Trust, it's the same thing. I'm just going to go over to the setup, and you can set up in customization. And then we actually have somebody in there because I think Paul, actually it's me, never mind. I'm in Client Manager. Again, exclusive task. So let me get over there back to Trust. And customization, there's also a merchant account services here. So again, I would just turn that on, and I would set up my merchant account information on that line. Same thing, it would be a separate merchant account. Now remember, you can't have use one for both. If you do, everything's going to go into one account. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not even sure if we can do that in here. You would actually have to have manually processed that a different way. So you need to have a separate account. Operating account.
That's the way the state bar and almost every state requires. The other thing we found we like much better about T-System is the ProPay service than over our old credit card processor is that the fees come out as a separate transaction at the end of the month combined. So
it's instead of a per transaction.
Take that right out, right then and there. Then we had to go in and kind of fiddle with the transaction to make it balance because they were taking it out before they gave us our money.
Right.
That's not the way.
And a lot of the companies are like that. You're going to need to go in and adjust the journal entry, and I get calls a lot about that. How do I fix this? They only gave us this amount. I still need to give the client full credit. What do I do? And this doesn't do that. You get one fee at the end of the month. So that combines all the fees overall, and you get that one charge. You make one journal entry to get that out and not several. So this is the same process for Trust. Once you get that set up, then you can take those into Trust, and you are good to go. You can accept payments, and if you do credit card in here, that again will put that money in there. Now, I think that's everything I had to cover on credit card processing. Is there anything I'm missing, Paul? I don't think so. I think I got it all.
That's pretty much it.
If there's any other questions, just let us know.
If you've had it before, you know how painful it was to set up and how hard it was to deal with. Oh, one more thing. If you did have it before, you had to go through an audit that took about one or two, not an audit, but a certification that took about an hour or two every year. That also has been eliminated. So it's easy to sign up. The rates are low. It's easy to set up. There is no more certification that's required on your end. You can save the credit card information. You can now do eChecks. You can save that information too for each of your clients. It's really a beautiful thing that works virtually flawlessly. So,
if you do want to get more information on that, as far as you know, where do I go? How do I do this? If you are in that customization screen again, under Merchant Services, there's a Learn More. There's some information here on how to do it. There's a number for tabs for sales if you don't have 18. There's some information in there for you.
Basically everything you need to do to get signed up.
And any of those things. So if you need any other additional help, we're happy to assist you as well. Paul?
Okay, great. Now I'm going to talk about something from Trust, something that is also new or drastically improved with version 18. In prior versions of Trust, you might put in a whole bunch of payments to the firm and then turn around and make one EFT to transfer that money from Trust to your operating account. But when you got your statement and it showed as one entry there and went to reconcile, in Trust it used to still treat them all like individual payments. So it was very difficult to reconcile. If you took, for the sake of ease of picturing this, if you took $100 payments, 10 of them, and put them with one single EFT into your operating account from Trust, you'd have a $1,000 entry on your bank statement, but the Trust account reconciliation would show 10 $100 entries. And so you'd have to know that those 10 entries were what was involved in this particular transaction, and you'd have to physically mark all 10 of them off. And it got very confusing. It was hard to keep track of, and it was error prone because you're having to do this manual calculation yourself. And obviously, I can add 110 times and come up with 1,000. But when you're dealing with 7 different payments from trust and they're all different weird numbers, very hard to do. So they've added a feature called a combined trust transaction. So if we go over here to trust, I want to make sure to get to the right trust. This is the trust Mary Jo was using. I've got a different trust, our sample firm, Jensen, Martin, and Anderson. First, let me give you an example of what we're talking about here. There are 2 types of transactions that you might want to combine. One would be your typical payment to the firm. So if we pull up one that I've got here that I did just now, payment from trust, this is a typical payment, EFT payment to the firm from John Williams' trust account in this particular bank account. We set it up as an EFT. This particular payment is $50. And later on, if I were to have made this payment, I probably have 6 or 7 other payments that I'm going to lump into one sum and transfer over. The other example of things that you may want to combine, and I'm just going to cancel out of this and go to Mr. Larson. I think he's got what I'm looking for, is payments or deposits to the trust account. Let's say that over the course of a week, 7 people bring you checks. Again, we'll use $100. So you've got $700 to deposit into the trust account, but you've made 7 different $100 deposit to trust account transactions. And so, again, those need to be lumped together or combined into one transaction so that when you go to reconcile, your trust account side will show $700, your bank statement side will show $700, and it will be very easy to match those 2 numbers up. So what have they done? They've simply added the functionality to combine trust transactions. Right there on your checks deposits tab, also something that can be set up on your main tab, combine trust transactions. And so you need to identify the reference number, and I'm going to hit tab and it'll know that we're adding a new one. And you need to identify which bank, and I happen to know we're dealing with First Bank interest-bearing bank account number 2. I'm going to use today's date, and I'm going to say that the first thing we want to combine is those EFTs. And so here we are. Here are all the EFTs that are unreconciled in our system. It's kind of like combining transactions into a deposit, payments into a deposit in General Ledger. And so here's those 2 payments that I have made to the firm using an EFT type transaction, $400 and $50. And I'm going to combine them into one entry and save it. So I've just taken those 2 transactions that otherwise would have shown up on the trust account side of my reconciliation as one $400 entry and one $50 entry, and combined them so they now show up as a single $450 entry, which is exactly the way my bank statement's going to show it when I electronically transfer that $450 from trust to my operating account. The other side of the coin, as I described, was, I'm going to add a new transaction now, and it's still going to come from bank account number 2, but this is going to be those deposits. Here are all the deposits that were made in a certain time period. People bringing in checks, maybe they wired us money. Well, I guess if they wired us money, it's like they're going to go straight into the bank, so forget that. People bringing in checks, probably not the interest, but people have brought in different checks for different things. Whoops. So here are the checks that those people have brought in, and I'm about to make a deposit of $14,656.98. And by combining these 5 transactions into one and saving it, I now have a single reconcilable entry of $14,656.98 for these 5 deposits or checks that we have sitting on the receptionist's desk as she prepares this deposit into our trust account. And that, in essence, is combined trust transactions. As I said, it's just like preparing a deposit slip in the general ledger when you've added, let's say 27 payments into tabs, and you're going to make one deposit of those 27 payments. Same thing here. Okay, that was easy. That wasn't nearly as hard as Mary Jo's, and I thought mine was going to be harder. Okay, next month, we're talking about EFTs in accounts payable. What do you do in accounts payable and general ledger for those things that aren't checks that the software is producing? Maybe you've got a debit card and you use it occasionally to pay something. Or maybe the bank takes things out of your checking account, service charges, things like that, and you want to represent them with a transaction. Maybe you wire money to somebody. Maybe you make an EFT payment to your landlord for your rent. How do you put those into accounts payable and account for them properly? Mary Jo's going to talk about that. And I am going to talk about the differences between the regular old software and Platinum. I'm going to explain what Platinum is, what advantages you have with getting Platinum, and how they affect your use of Tabs 3. And we'll talk a little bit about how much that costs and what the future is with Platinum. I would be remiss, of course, to leave you without showing you that if you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, notice my emphasis on this last S in the word systems, you will find, among other things, a link up at the top to our videos section. If you hover over that link, you'll see everything listed. If you actually click on that word videos, you'll be taken to a separate page, but in any event, you will be given the opportunity to look at all of our video titles. Now, you are currently at our Tabs 3 virtual user group meeting. So if I were to click this, it would take me to that section where we can see exactly what's going on at the next meeting. We have links that we can click to register. And as I said, this next meeting is about EFTs and accounts payable and Platinum. You can see prior meetings and recordings of them. This one is the one you're watching right now, so it's currently in post-production. But as we scroll down further, here's last month's Tabs 3 virtual user group meeting. So please visit this site, poke around, see all the different things we have to offer. We have our 4 live meetings that occur each month. We have our Coffee Pot webinars. That's something I do every month. We have our World Docs, Practice Master, and Tabs 3 virtual user group meetings. And then we even have a couple series of pre-recorded non-live events. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series where she takes something that's kind of concise and short and quick, a 2 or 3 or 4 minute explanation of how to do some neat thing. And we also have the Paul and Mary Jo show, where either I or Mary Jo will take a broader topic and expand on it in great detail, 10, 15, even 20 minutes to explain in great depth a certain concept within Tabs or Practice Master or World Docs. So please take advantage of this. It's there for you to use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's why we put it there, just for you. Everybody have a good rest of the day, a good rest of the month, and we will see you in August. Bye-bye.